Ladies and gentlemen, I can't believe what I'm witnessing as we're seeing the Phoenix Suns once again have a fall through this season where the fans are really coming through and deciding who is to blame. Is it the front office? Is it the coaching staff? Is it the players? Well, we'll be diving into all of that and more on this episode of Suns Digest as we ultimately explore what is the main crux of these issues and going over what you personally think are the issues for this team as well. Welcome back to Suns Digest. I am Bruce Velez. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to these episodes. You guys have been absolutely fantastic, showing your love and support on the channel over these last couple of weeks, and it's been really, really appreciative for Curtis and I as we see the growth of Suns Digest. We just want to say thank you guys for that. If you want to make sure you stay up to date on everything, you know what to do. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and make sure to come through to our stream on Thursday as we'll be live every single week breaking down this Suns team if you have any questions. But without further ado, let's dive in and let's break down this Suns team as we look at today's topic, which is going over this is ridiculous and discussing this honestly disgraceful team that the Phoenix Suns have put together this season. As we look at an article written by myself, courtesy of Bright Side of the Sun, looking at who is to blame for all of this, where everyone is blaming different parties. So let's discuss the true culprits at fault. And with this Suns team, like I mentioned in the introduction, there are basically three parties to be mad at. The three parties that everyone is talking about are the coaching staff, the front office, and the players. So we'll look at these three categories and make sense to pin each blame on one of them. And before we get into all of this, I would like to preface that there is a amount of blame going to everybody in my eyes. I don't think that one group gets unscathed by all this. I do believe that every single party involved here is at some sort of blame. It just all depends on how much you want to account for it. First, obviously, like the players, I mean, it's pretty easy. The players are the ones that are actually out there playing. They have to give the effort on both sides of the ball, and they're the ones that are trying to win, regardless of the roster construction of what the GM has done or the coach has done to put this team to succeed. They have to find a way to win, or it hinders them. If they fail, it limits their individual numbers. If they fail, it also limits the type of contracts that they could possibly obtain in the future if they have a bad season. Also, failing to work together as a team leads them to not miss the playoffs or possibly the play-in, which could be even disastrous for the fans' reaction as they had higher expectations for this team. Also, in every game with this team, you see defensive effort where it's very lackadaisical. You see the horrendous transition defense where it's just flat out embarrassing at some points. Though this is all true, they are not entirely at fault. Now, when you look at the coaching, you all know that the Suns' tale old as time over the last couple of years is they've had a new coach. As last 3 seasons, they have had Monty Williams, Frank Vogel, and now Coach Budenholzer. But fans are seriously discussing with how bad this season has gone if they should have a fourth coach in 4 seasons. But ultimately, I don't know if that's going to solve everything. Even though that's the case, though, Mike Budenholzer obviously has had some questionable decision makings with some sample questions like why did it take for so long for Tyus to get benched? Why does Mason Plumlee play 10 minutes a night guaranteed every single time? Why did it take for Kevin Durant to get injured for the third time of the year to eventually try out Bol and to give him more than just 10 minutes in a sporadic moment? Why is Ryan Dunn now benched and not getting playing time as your best defender? When you look back at this team, Frank Vogel's ability to have this team as to succeed with all the injuries was a miracle. We couldn't even dream of that this year, as we thought it was a disaster, even though we thought it was a disaster last season. It just shows on how far we have moved back as a franchise. And ultimately, the last person to possibly blame here is the decision makers, as the Suns front office has obviously done a disastrous job building this team, as whoever has the job to making the final decision has really screwed up the post KD trade. The Suns mortgaged their whole future for Bradley Beal, who obviously is a great player, but it showed that obviously with a team with Kevin Durant and Brooklyn, that a team built like this will not work, and the Suns are obviously feeling that right now as the cost of their flexibility for the future also doubled down. The Suns traded DeAndre Ayton and Toumani Camara for Grayson Allen and Yusuf Nurkic, where Camara has obviously been the Blazers' defensive anchor, and Ayton has dominated versus the Suns this season. And this year, Grayson Allen has been solid, but in a diminished role off the bench, has not been as exceeding as he was last year when he got the contract extension. And as we all know, Yusuf Nurkic went from bench to DNP to then outing the coach to then being traded for a bag of chips when ultimately when both of those players haven't even suited up for the Suns. When looking at all of this, obviously you have to question the Suns front office and ultimately look at the moves that they have made. Why did they re-sign Damian Lee this season if he's not going to play? Why did they bring back Bol if he was just going to be an emergency play? And if so, then when he does well now, why do you see limited minutes again? Where's the defense on this roster? Why are there five guys in Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Grayson Allen, and Royce O'Neal who all play a similar role of scoring and shooting the basket all on the same roster and all playing at the same time on the court? Why are all these things happening? Well, you can obviously put the blame on some people. I ultimately do believe that a majority of the blame is on the front office. I think the front office has set us up in this direction, regardless if that's Matt Ishbia being an aggressive owner, regardless if that's James Jones and Matt Bartlestein messing up in the front office by trading for Bradley Beal and making some other moves. But ultimately, the front office is what puts this team together. And for making the trade for Kevin Durant, we all know that getting Kevin Durant and Booker would have worked together, regardless if they went and got someone else. I've always talked about how instead of letting Ayton sign that offer sheet with Indy, they should have signed and traded Ayton for Miles Turner. Bringing in a guy like Miles Turner, possibly Obi Toppin, would have been absolutely fantastic for this Suns team with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and that look of a roster to where even if you do have to move off a contract like Chris Paul or something like that, you aren't able to necessarily need to take Bradley Beal on as you have Miles Turner, you have all these other guys. You don't necessarily need to put yourself in that hole of, oh, we need this third scorer. We need someone to put the ball in the basket, even though there's one basketball and we have three guys that can do that. I genuinely do not know. The coaching, too. The coaching is absolutely atrocious, too. You see Mike Budenholzer running these random lineups, giving Mason Plumlee 10 minutes a night, giving Bol some time. Bol looks good in 3-4 games. He gets to start. Up, Bol, you are done. No more time for you. Ryan Dunn, you look good. You're going to be starting. You're going to be playing for us. Nope. You get an injury. You are done. Sit down. What? What? How does that make any sense? Why are we playing guys that are not helping us win games? Why are we not trying to win when we don't have our first round pick? Is there a reverse tank job that is going on in the organization that we just don't know about? I am genuinely lost, generally confused. Ultimately, I have full blame to give to everybody. Once again, like I said, the players are still at fault. The players, yes, you can't blame Kevin Durant and Devin. You can blame Kevin Durant and Devin Booker for not giving it their all, but when you have a coach like Mike Budenholzer and when you're someone that has played basketball before and you have a coach that you know you don't really like or doesn't really utilize you well or doesn't have the best motives for you, are you really going to play best for that coach? Are you really going to give it your all for that coach? No. That's what the Suns are doing right now. You can clearly see in that game versus the Spurs a couple of days ago where Kevin Durant's telling Mike Budenholzer, we need a defender. We need someone that can guard Ja'Aaron Fox. And what does he do? Grayson Allen, go out there. Tyus Jones, go out there. Go defend. Go. What? What? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. I'm honestly lost with this team. And ultimately, that's why I said, I can't believe what we're witnessing. I can't believe what we have seen unfold in front of our screens, in front of our eyes this whole entire season. And it's gotten to this point. It's gotten to the point where I'm making videos just rambling, ranting, going out of pocket, going into this conversation, because I just don't know how to talk about this team at this point in a concise manner because so much is wrong with it. There's so much to discuss, so much to talk about, so much to break down. I could sit here on Suns Digest and ultimately discuss about this team, not willingly or help or I could do it willingly, but not happily. But I could discuss about this team and problems about this team dating back from a couple of years ago, probably for about 2 to 3 hours, where it could just be me just sitting here talking, just yap, of everything this team's done wrong, everything that they could have done better. And it's all ifs. But if the fans are saying all these ifs and the fans know about these ifs, then why is the front office not thinking about these ifs? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, how you guys ultimately feel about this Suns team. Like I said, absolutely ridiculous that we had to break down all of this news. Who's really to blame here and all of this? I think everybody is to blame, but I think different sides have more. If you guys did enjoy this video and you want to get more news, make sure to hit the subscribe button and definitely go check out this article on Brightside, as you could ultimately vote as well for your thoughts on who you think is to blame for all of this as well. Like I said, I want to say shout out to everyone who has tuned into the videos, who has tuned into the content for Curtis and I, as we really do appreciate it over here on Suns Digest, trying to bring you guys that daily Suns content here every single day. Like I said, we're going to be live on Thursday, once again, on our weekly day, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Phoenix time for all you guys that want to discuss everything Phoenix Suns. So make sure to come through to that and let us know your thoughts down below in the comment section on this video on who is to blame for this Suns mess. Like I said, thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, and go Phoenix Suns. Peace out, everyone.